Oh, we're live. Okay, I got to watch it. My chair's sinking as we're going live. My chair was sinking. Good Friday morning, afternoon, whatever it is. Anyway, I keep dropping my drum pins. All right. Oh, man. And I'm further from the ground because I've got my high chair up, not my little chair. So.
Oh. That's not good.
There we go. I got my air drums.
Putting my phone on Do Not Disturb.
I always have my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Do not disturb me. Ever, ever.
So interesting thing about that, all right, before we get started into today's things is I actually got a phone call this week that was a business call I needed to take, but I went right to voicemail because I looked at the number. I said, I don't know who that is, so let's just let it go to voicemail. And it was the storage facility where I have a storage unit for some of my business stuff stored. And they apparently, another company took over it, all right, this past week. And they were calling to say, well, because the new company takes over, your credit card and auto pay won't work. So you've got to either call us back with the credit card or come into the facility. And I'm like, I'll take a drive over to the facility. I'm not calling somebody on the phone that I don't know to give them my credit card. I'm sorry, that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I get over there and she goes, yeah, she says a lot of people did that.
Well, at least they're protecting themselves. That's a good thing.
That's it. Well, for me, it was I don't take the phone calls because I don't know who they are. All right. Yeah. And it wasn't a big deal. All right. It was something I had 15 days to handle. But still, I have this whole thing that all of my clients' phone numbers are into my phone. If they call me, I know it's them. If they text me, I know it's them. But, you know, the general public calls me. I don't know. And everybody I meet that I want to connect with, I always say, text me your name and phone number so I know and I can save you into my system. Otherwise, I'll just ignore your calls when they come through. Yeah. And they laugh and they go, no, really? Come on, we just met. And I'm like, dude, you don't know how many people call me every week and how many times the phone pops up and says scam likely.
Yeah. I do the same thing. I don't know the number. I don't answer.
Yeah. I still save the number in, and this number never calls me, though, is, I got 867-5309 in there, and that number never calls me. Somebody calls me from that number, I'm going to answer it, because it's probably Jenny. Jenny, I got your number.
So we got lots to talk about today.
We got a list, all right. Oh, this is my other list. All right, let's get on to the list we got today. All right. This first thing we have on today's agenda is you gave us acquisitions. What the heck made you search for acquisitions this week?
Well, here was the thing is I have been reading how a lot of companies are being bought out by other companies, and they're a good marriage because they have a lot in common. Like, for instance, lynda.com was acquired by Microsoft some time ago, but it's a good marriage because Microsoft and lynda.com, if people who don't know lynda.com, it's a training. They do training videos on literally everything and even do certifications now. And Microsoft is into training and doing certifications. So it's a good marriage. But I just recently found out that Mailchimp was acquired by Intuit, who also owns QuickBooks and a couple other different things. So it looks like QuickBooks is trying to be that all kind of thing, like with all these other ones that we've talked about with Kartra and Keep and the other ones that are all in one piece. And it looks like that's kind of what Intuit's trying to do as well. So, and the other one, of course, was Acuity, was acquired by Squarespace. So I'm just seeing all of these companies now that there was a partnership and now they're becoming one.
See,
and
I'm looking at the Mailchimp QuickBooks thing and still going, okay, why?
Well, if you think about it, with QuickBooks, they have no mailing piece. It's all financial piece.
Right.
And they have nothing that's a mail piece. I personally used Dubsado, which has a mail piece, they have contract piece, they have payment piece, they have all of these pieces combined. So I think QuickBooks is trying to do that, where they bring on more people now so that they can say, hey, we have an emailing piece so you can keep contact of your clients now. We've got the payment piece. They're trying to get more things on board, I believe, to make them more viable than just this one key demographic of doing.
But the key demographic they control the freaking market.
I know.
Who else has something? I mean, who else is even close to competing with QuickBooks?
Yep.
Nobody.
Yep. Well, there's Quicken, but
Quicken's personal, and Quicken's personal, and QuickBooks is, and it's the same company. And I have used Quicken for my personal finances. When I started businesses, I've still never used QuickBooks. I've tried it twice and still not. My car wash business, I ran with Quicken Home and Business.
Yeah,
I did not run it with QuickBooks. I ran it with Quicken Home and Business because it was a more adaptable to what I did. And I mean, I had my body shops in Pennsylvania. I had a bookkeeper come on who basically, she loved QuickBooks and she was going to convert everything. I was like, yeah, if you do it, you're running it. All right, you leave, it goes. I'm not going to keep doing it. And because it just was not. It's like the Infusionsoft versus versus Kajabi and Kartra. You know what I mean? It was confusing. Same tool, just different ways to use it.
Well, and there's the other one out there too that's called FreshBooks. That's for entrepreneurs, and that's another option. It's just that QuickBooks has so many key things that most people utilize it. I know it can be very convoluted and very confusing a lot of times, but you've got a CPA. It's very helpful, especially if you've got the online one, because all they have to do is sign in, do their thing, you're done. So, and FreshBooks is starting to get that way and that type of thing too. But I just thought it was an interesting marriage with Mailchimp and QuickBooks, because QuickBooks has never really had an emailing piece. It's always been the books. That's it. And now they're having this marriage with Mailchimp. So it's an interesting marriage between the two, and it shows that they're trying to do more for their clients, so that maybe more people will come on board and see that they're more viable than just this one entity. I just thought, I mean, I read this and then I started looking at all the other acquisitions, and I thought, I know a lot of times with acquisitions, people look at it as, oh, okay, Amazon bought this company and this company and this company. I thought these acquisitions were more of a marriage, as opposed to, we're just buying this company because it's competition. We don't want the competition around.
Yeah.
I thought this was, and that's why I thought this was kind of an interesting concept, because I'm seeing it more and more and more, where these people, like I said, these companies used to partner together, and now they're becoming under the same umbrella.
Well, I mean, you think about Microsoft in the 90s and early 2000s. All right. If they would have started acquiring other companies back then, like Google did, Amazon did, Apple did. All right. I think Microsoft would be more of a powerhouse than it is today.
I agree.
You know what I mean? They didn't. They waited the long game, and before they started acquiring other companies, they just partnered with people here and there, and then would move on.
I think the problem with Microsoft is they take too long to figure out whether they're going to make their move or not. They try and take the safe road and realize, is this a safe investment or not? And so they go through and they do all of their investigating, but by then all these other companies have already surpassed them because they've made the move.
And or they've swooped in and got the deal.
Exactly. And as we know with business, the biggest thing is you got to act quickly, but sometimes acting quickly can be a bad thing, and sometimes it can be a good thing, but it depends on what you're buying into, what you're looking at, what you're acquiring. And I think Microsoft takes the safe road a lot more, and would probably, like you said, be a bigger powerhouse if they just went in and did it, as opposed to, well, let's check this out. Well, let's see if this, and well. So I think they look at things too scientifically before they actually go in and act.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, I was investigating in 2019, just before 2020. It would have been 2019. I was looking at buying something that would be an accent to my business, and I delayed. I delayed by 4 months. All right. And in that 4 months of my delay in doing the research onto it, someone came in that was a great fit. All right. And bought it and took it over, and they started growing it. And I just found out recently now that same company has, has partnered. In other words, they sold off part of it to another group. And I'm looking at that going, wow, that could have been me in that mix. You know what I mean? I would, I'm glad, but now I look at other things and go, well, should I jump on acquiring some of these other deals and putting them together? Because, and I mean, we'll get that as we go into investments further on down today, but I'm looking at a lot of things, and it's whether I act quick enough to get it.
Yeah.
So, but I have an investment company, not just a speaking company. So I have an investment company that's looking at other things to invest in. And I'm always keeping an eye out for what that company can get or acquire as an investment. Yeah. So, and I don't have liquid cash. That's the problem with the investment companies. I don't have liquid cash to be able to go buy with cash. So I got to make trade deals and stock deals and stuff like that to get it. Or I've got to sell an asset and swap that asset into whatever it is. But these companies, do you think when they're acquiring, do you think that it's deals that is being worked out, or what do you think it is?
I personally think it's deals that they've worked out, and like I said, it's a good marriage. It's when you look at an acquisition, and I've gone through 3 acquisitions in the corporate sector where we were bought out by our competition. So we were bought out by your competition. We've had this discussion before. They're not going to need duplicate effort. So a lot of people are laid off. This is a good marriage because Mailchimp and QuickBooks are 2 totally separate companies.
Oh, totally different entities. Yeah.
So they're not going to lay anybody off because it's a marriage that they're pulling these things together to make both companies stronger, instead of just saying, well, we don't want the competition, so we're just going to buy them out.
Well, so yes and no. Yes and no. There's a possibility that they're looking
possibly, but the thing is the employees that are working at QuickBooks are doing totally different things than the employees that are working at Mailchimp. And they're going to need both sides because QuickBooks doesn't know about Mailchimp and vice versa. And they're 2 separate things, but it's a good marriage. And that's what I really like about these acquisitions, is that it's not about, like I said, buying the competition. It's about making a business that now is going to be even more viable for their audience and their clients, because they're bringing in other companies that are going to help them grow, not just say, we're going to gobble this guy up and gobble this guy up. I mean, just like with Facebook, they bought, I believe it was Instagram. Yeah. And a couple of the other ones. So that way now they have that under their umbrella, and now they can supply all of these things, which makes it better for their audience. Yeah. And that's what I really loved about these acquisitions, is that I thought they were a really good opportunity for their audience, as opposed to just trying to buy competition.
Well, the other thing is too, is I've seen some companies who acquire or investment companies that come in and buy and take over. Like a company my wife worked for, a couple of years ago, was bought and taken over by an investment group. And basically, in all appearances, I see, based on 20 years of watching, my wife run in that company, is these people have bought it and they're trying to, and they're in ways to try to save money. They're taking it, nosediving it. And I remember when I got started in this game, one of the things that I invested in early on to use as a tool in my business was the flip camera. Do you remember the flip cameras?
Yep.
Do you remember? I don't remember what company bought that, but then they basically closed the doors on it and went, well, this isn't profitable. And like they spent billions to get it. Yeah. All right. And it was worth peanuts when they got done. And you look at Yahoo was trying to make a deal to buy Facebook in the early days. Imagine if Yahoo would have bought Facebook. Would it be here today or not? I don't know.
Possibly not. And Verizon ended up, I think, buying Yahoo, and then they ended up selling it because it was it just wasn't worth it. Yeah. And the money on paper, so to speak. And so they ended up selling it off as well. I mean, Yahoo is kind of like the stepchild. It's been sold off so many times to different companies.
Well, the other one like that I can think of is, if we go in the social space, I remember when I first got on social media was Friendster and MySpace.
Yep.
MySpace has been sold off. I think Justin Timberlake owns it now, and he wanted to do it as a certain thing for like musicians. But like MySpace was there was a point in time that even the people who started Facebook thought Friendster was going to be the industry leader. Friendster's gone. It ain't even out there anymore. It's gone.
Nope.
And Facebook came over and took over. Well, Facebook then jumped the acquiring game, whereas most other companies took a bit to do acquiring. Like Twitter acquired Periscope and then eventually did away with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things like that.
So, and I think it depends on the company and what they're looking for and how they're trying to make it a part of their company. I just think it's interesting that you're seeing a lot more acquisitions coming across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, some of them are sticking around and some of them are just, they were here one day and the next day it's like Friendster. I haven't heard of them. And what's that? Nobody.
I think that's the first time being mentioned on the show. Is I think the first time they've gotten recognition since 2004.
I know. But I mean, and here's the funny thing is when you're even talking about social media in general, how it's not even been around that long, and people think it has been, and it hasn't really.
No.
And when in the general sense, it's only been around since I think 2003.
3 or 4 is when it really kind of the first one started.
2003, 2004. So it really hasn't been around as long as some of these other companies and entities. But it's an interesting concept. And I think as we look at these acquisitions, I think as business owners, we have to look at these things too. And whether it's a smart idea for us to either be acquired by another company or a partnership, or acquire another company that can then help our business, or do you just do a partnership as like a vendor or a white label or that type of thing? So it's this, I just thought it was kind of an interesting concept on how we can learn a lot as entrepreneurs from the big wigs, the big corporations out there, and how they're buying things and how they're managing them as a whole and encompassing them in their own company.
So, but then as acquiring, all right, let's use this as an example because this is a good thing because you and I are in closely related fields.
Yes.
Let's say I'm doing very, very well, all right, and you're doing good, and I just come up to you and I go, Katrina, let's talk about putting the two together as one company, all right, and basically, I take my finances to help keep you in a job, all right, but then I take away your financial worries for running the company. And then expand it.
Yeah,
that's what an acquiring is. And you and I have two companies that would pair together. All right. Whereas I was talking, I don't see the exact pair together of the one with Mailchimp, but you and I would have that pair together. And that's what I think most of our listeners, if they're ever going to grow their business, they should be looking at the pairs. I mean, what relationships are you building with people? Another one that was just recently that I know was a smaller one that was acquired and taken over was I was part of this thing called Pot It. And guy Brent was in charge of it. And basically another company acquired him and took over. And basically the whole new thing, I just like, okay, I'm out. And you know what I mean? Because the deal I had was a weird one. And I said, okay, I'm out. I'm not interested in whatever it goes to. Bye. And I walked away. But Brett just realized that there were so many competitors out there that he was drowning in a sea of it. So he went one of the bigger companies, took basically his database, and they combined.
Yeah, and it could be a good thing, and or it could be too where you're getting to that point now that you may not want to work anymore. You may want to retire. That's an opportunity too for if somebody comes along and says, okay, I want your database, I want this. I mean, with lynda.com, it was started by Linda, and
I thought it was started by somebody else named like Katrina or something.
Because she couldn't
be on that one
out there. So she started just like with any other business, you can't find something that works out there, so you invent it yourself. And she did such a good job. She literally sold it to Microsoft, I think, for like it was $10 billion, or I mean, it was this astronomical amount. Now she's retired. She's not working. Yeah. She gets to do whatever she wants, go on vacation, do whatever. If she wants to start another venture, she has the funds to do that. And so sometimes I know people look at acquisitions as maybe a negativity. and a negative thing, but I really think it's a positive thing, and it could be good for everyone involved.
Everything has a positive and negative side, or a positive or negative spin to it. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And it depends on what side you're on too.
Very true. Very true. So let's move on to our next subject we've got here, because you've got an interesting one here brought up today. I'm gonna let you lead on this one here. Because I've got a lot of comments onto it, but I want to hear your point of view first.
Got it. Okay. So our next one is the importance of email marketing. And for a long time, and as we see the ebbs and flows of business, sometimes people will start to go more towards social media and doing more advertising through that, and then less on the email part. Or sometimes they'll start to go to the email part and then less on social media. So it goes back and forth when it comes to marketing. But I personally think that when it comes to email marketing, it's something that you should always be doing, because it's a way to stay in touch with your current and potential clients by giving them information, not just events or anything, but it's a way to show your expertise, give them value, show them how you can help them with A, B, or C. And you have a bigger opportunity to do that with email marketing than you can with social media, because as we know with social media, it's very snippets, it's small snippets, where with an email marketing, you can do more. You can talk about more, you can give them more value. And it's not about selling. It's not about buy my book, buy this, buy that, buy this. It's as we've talked about on the show, the more value you provide your clients, the better. And I really, truly believe with email marketing, that's the key piece for you to do that. I mean, wouldn't you agree? You do email marketing.
I do email marketing, and I am still very firm into it, and have said since 2011, I think 2010, I kind of listened to the social media buzz on the thing. And then in 2011, I went, no, I need to start building an email list.
Yep.
And 2012, my email list kind of started, and I've cleaned it out a couple of times where basically I've cleaned it off, but I always am doing things to keep growing the email list, and have very, very firmly said, don't rely totally on social media, and have a bunch of examples. Katrina, when I started in 2010, I had a dozen people say to me, Tim, you don't need an email list. You don't need that. You don't need a website anymore. You can do it all with social media.
Not true.
And I do mean everyone who said that has a job working for someone else right now.
Yep.
All right. And I wasn't going to listen. I never, this is the renegade in me. I don't ever listen to everybody going, well, this is what you need to do. I always am going, well, let me just check that out before I take your word for it.
Yeah.
And I've always been, I'm going to try one more time this way to make sure. Before I just take Katrina's word and like, okay, whatever you say, Katrina, and do it, I'm going to try Tim's way one more time to try it. And the email marketing has been that one more try that I've done, where I've proven more successful than those people who basically wanted to do social media.
Well, and I found too that when I do the email marketing, I invariably will have at least 4 to 5 old clients that I haven't talked to in a long time give me a call and say, oh my God, I saw your email. I've been thinking about calling you, and then I saw it. So I need this now. I need you to help me with this, or I need you to help me with that. It's one of those things. It's like a card in the mail. You get a card from somebody that you haven't heard from in a long time, and now all of a sudden, I got to call them. They gave me this card. I've been thinking about it. I'm going to call them. And I think that's what the email list kind of does. It stirs that up, and people start to see those things, and they realize, yeah, I remember she can do this and do that. I'm going to give them a call. So I really personally feel that your email marketing is not only, and as we know, as an entrepreneur, your gold is in the list, and that's part of your email marketing. And like we talked about too, with social media, people will do social media, but that list isn't yours. You don't own it.
Yeah.
The social media channel that you've got it on owns it. And with this email marketing, it's all your list, and it are all the key people that you're contacting, and your clients and future and whatever the case may be. This is your list. And it's a pristine list because you're keeping it going as long as you're keeping it going. And I think that's the key.
But some of the keys of keeping the list going and going properly is You know what I mean? Don't become a spammer. All right. And
No,
the spammer, what I mean by that is the spammer is somebody who is doing everything and anything they can to bypass building a relationship with an email. I have the specific things down with email. Like I get people to sign up to be on my podcast using an email autoresponder system. And every email, I work my darndest to make that email sound like I personally just wrote it to send it to you. But it is automated. All right.
Yeah.
And that is, it's a relationship process to carry people through to the next step. Now take that to marketing. I have a newsletter list of some people who have bought from me, some people who haven't. And just every week it is a newsletter. I'm not even sure if you're on it or not, but every week every week it's something that I relate in my world to business. Mm-hmm. Do I make sales pitches into it? The most I ever do is tell people, well, if you've not joined the Simple Easy Events membership, go ahead and do it right here. Click this. And some people just go grab it. One person who met me through another event realized that there was a cheaper option and through my newsletter and clicked and took the cheaper option. So I'm okay with that. Right.
Yeah.
Because they could have, they could have invested and gotten the whole VIP package through the other thing, but they just wanted to test it here. So go ahead and test it. Testing it along the way. All right. Because I built relationship. I built the trust to get them to do that.
Agreed.
All right. The trust is going to be built in levels. I'll make more money this way because they'll actually to take it to the next level. When they do trust me, it costs more. But anyway, that's it. It's built on the actual idea of building relationships through email and making people actually feel that you're sending that email like you care. One of the key email marketers that I follow very intensely, and I'm in his inner circle program, or what he's called is his network now, is Frank Kern. You read a Frank Kern email. Frank Kern's email, he's actually selling to you in the email, but it sounds like, "Hey, buddy, what's up, man? It's like this friendly conversation that just makes you want to click on the button to find out what's on there." Yeah. And that's what email marketing is. And too often the people with social media are trying to do everything they can because they don't want to build a relationship.
I agree. Because they don't want to get on the phone. I mean, that's part of the email marketing too, is getting on the phone as well and contacting people and getting in touch with them. I mean, there are so many touch points over the years when it comes to marketing in general, because as we know, right now it's between 15 to 20 touch points that you've got to even put out there before somebody's even going to pick up the phone or call you or text you or email you to respond back. Mm-hmm. 15 to 20. It used to be 8. Mm-hmm. Now it's 15 to 20. And they anticipate it'll be even more because there's so much out there and there's so many things coming at people on a regular basis. And I think the key for your email marketing, like you said, is making it very personalized so that they feel like you're talking to them and you're talking about their pain points. And I think that's the key when it comes to business in general is, are you talking to their pain points or are you just talking above them, including acronyms? I can't tell you how many times clients will come in and we'll talk about the content and then I'll try and have them come back a little. And what about the acronym? Can we redo this a little bit? And they'll say, oh, but you want to make it real easy. Simple, easy marketing.
That's why I have that title, by the way.
You want to make it easy. And that's not an easy thing to do. Easy is not easy. As we know,
easy is,
we start to write it and we make it a lot more convoluted than we need to. We make it more with bigger words. And then before we know it, we've sent it out there and people are like, yeah, I got your email. I had no idea what you were talking about. What does this mean? And what does that mean? And I think when we too hard, we just need to be authentic. And we've talked about this. Authentic, easy. Make it authentic, be easy. That's simple.
Well, the idea behind, all right, so most people know, they asked me about this. My idea was simple, easy marketing. It was the idea behind it is make it simple and easy for your customer to get to know you, find you, get to know you, and buy from you faster. That was the whole concept behind it. And that's what email marketing does. It builds the relationship to make them want to get to know you better and buy from you. But I have this note here, and I don't remember where I heard this over the past week, but I put it down in my main notebook, all right, that I think kind of relates to this. Learn to create your content, all right, by talking to them by being a part of the conversation that is already going on in their head about the subject you're talking about.
Yep.
That was, you started talking. I was like, I got to pull that out real quick.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep. And that's why a lot of the businesses that are still in business today. That's how they're doing it. They're making sure they're authentic and they're talking to their audience with the pain points that when they're opening up that email, they're like, oh my God, how did they know that's what I'm going through right now? How did they know that? Oh my, I need to talk to this guy. I mean, I had no idea. Wow, this is just, is he in my head or what's going on? Because this is exactly what I need. That's when they sign.
You're right.
Yep.
Guess what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for the tip of the week. I think you got one. I know I have one. I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. My tip of the week is you've got to make your content on your website scanner friendly, because believe it or not, 75% of your audience are scanners. And when I say scanners, they're not reading everything. They're going through and they want to get the gist of what you're trying to say. So the easy way to do that is you want to bold keywords so that when they're going through and looking at just those keywords, they get pretty much what you're trying to say and what the pain points are and how you can help them and the value you can bring without having to read the whole thing. When people see a lot of text, they move on. And I'm one of those. I'm a scanner. So I highly recommend that you bold out those keywords for your scanners, because you're going to keep them reading more instead of going through this whole long list of things and they're just going to move on. You're going to get a lot less bounce rates. I promise you. That's mine.
That's yours. All right. So I got this great one that I looked up today, and when I was looking it up for an idea this week, I went back to a podcast I did a year ago and talked about coming up with ideas to create your content every day. And if you're doing content on a daily basis, like I was at one point in time, I don't do it now. My content goes out on a weekly basis, but a daily basis. And you're going, man, what do I write about? What do I do a video about? And I told people, do this one thing. First of all, go to Google and type in on this day and actually look at what happened on this day in history. Now, I use the Wikipedia page because it gives me events, births, deaths, all right, history, holidays, all that stuff, and it all gives you on this day. And you could basically come down and use, for instance, I used this on the day I did it. It was a year ago, last year, was September 15th last year. It's the 17th now. But on September 15th was the day I recorded that show. And on September 15th, I pulled down birthdays. And it showed Tommy Lee Jones's birthday. And I said, well, imagine if you have something in your industry or your niche that relates to a movie that Tommy Lee Jones did. So you bring up Tommy Lee Jones. In this case, this past week, all of us are doing stuff about, comedian Norm Macdonald, who passed away. And everybody is putting up Norm Macdonald information. Why? Even Tommy Lee from Motley Crue put a video up with him and Norm Macdonald. That's where you get your content, and you really don't have to think about it. You just use the keys on the page to tell you, oh, I could write about that. Oh, I have a video about that. Yeah, Katrina and I talked about that a year ago. Let me go bring that video back up and pop it up just like that. And that's a great way to get your content. How about that one?
Yeah. Good idea. There's also funky holidays out there that you can utilize. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to get content out there. All kinds of ways.
But yeah, most people will be stumped on, well, what do I write today? And truthfully, I do things to try to set me up on what to write. Right? I don't sit and worry about it, because if I do, I'll wait till the last minute and it'll be crappy content.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's I
usually go on Flipboard and I find all kinds of content to write.
Yeah.
All kinds of content.
So like my newsletter is always something personal that relates to my life and business. So I have my subject down for this weekend's newsletter already. I just have to write it. And I will finish writing it tonight or tomorrow while I'm doing my virtual event. and then I'll set it in place and it'll release out to my email list on Sunday morning at 6 a.m.
Yep. That's the biggest thing too that we've talked about is automation. So
we'll get more into that later.
yes.
Since I'm hosting an event tomorrow about automation, you should be part of simpleeasyevents.com.
Yeah. Don't forget to join it.
Don't forget that it's only $20, man. Come on.
It's cheap, cheap.
So, anyway. So let me do this let's move on to our next subject here. All right. Decision fatigue causing us to either make hasty decisions or no decisions at all.
As we know.
I can't, wait a minute. I can't decide what to do on this. So I'm going to let you decide.
Yup. I mean, I'm guilty of this as the next person. And I'm one of those that you'll go to an event and you get all of this great information. You write all these notes furiously. You come home, you don't put anything to place because of overwhelm. And they have said since the beginning of 2019, when we went through the whole COVID thing, that people are having more decision fatigue than ever because they're having to change their routines. They're having to change how they do things. They're having to change whether the kids are going to school or they're staying home. Because of all these things that have been bombarding people on a regular basis and the decisions they have to make, it's a huge issue right now, and it's called decision fatigue. And I thought it was interesting because, I mean, I lately have had decision fatigue myself because, as you know, I'm in the middle of moving. I've got 3 households that I'm managing, a temporary apartment that we're moving to while our brand new house is being built, and dealing with selling the house at the same time, and packing and cleaning and staging and all this other stuff, as well as running a business. And that's a lot to deal with. And when you're doing that and you're trying to make decisions, a lot of times those decisions aren't always the best decisions. And you don't find that out until afterwards. And then you think to yourself, oh man, that was not a good choice.
Yeah. Can we, but based on that though, can we give our listeners some good tips of what we've learned to do that?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to start with you. We're going to go back and forth. You do one tip and I'll do a tip until we can kind of run this out. All right. In the next couple minutes of this segment, because I think that would be a great way to help our listeners get over this, because this affects it affects you and me. So if it affects you and me, let's share our experiences to get around it. Let's start with you. You go ahead with
personally, what I do is I sit down and I write a list of the pros and cons before I make any decision or go forward. So then that way I can decide, is this a good decision or a bad decision? And it's easy for me to make that quick decision because I've gone through that list and now I'm able to look through things and decide, yeah, this is a good thing. I'm going to move forward.
Cool. That's great. I like that one. So one of the things that I've done over the years, guys, is I take the mundane things that I have to do and I make those decisions ahead of time. One of the things I did this past year was create my own operations manual. This does nothing more than tells me what my daily habits are with almost every process I do. And I know it sounds stupid. Tim, you're a self-employed guy. You have to have an operations manual? No, I basically can open this up and tell you guys, and I think I've said this before, I can tell you exactly what I got to do on Friday. So I know that once everything's off this checklist on Friday, then it can go to handling the other stuff. But that gets this done. And I know the other thing that I can do that you can take it off your list of taking the simplistic things like this. How many of you guys have seen, the Mark Zuckerbergs and the fancy people, they all wear the same outfit every day. I'm seriously, Katrina, I actually have my closet is organized. I basically go in, pull a shirt off. Very rarely do I have to go in, what shirt am I going to wear today? Because I set it down to where I grab the next one. I grab the next one. I grab the next one. And I know that sounds stupid to many people, but get rid of the decisions, you know what I mean, that are going to hold you up, because there's more important decisions to make than what shirt should I wear today? What's the tasks I have to do today? That's my one. Next.
So the other thing I like too is I always go with my instincts. If it feels really good and like it's a good decision, and they say too, when you get that lurch where it's a big risk that you're making and it's that big step you're making, as we know, that's that growth and how you're moving forward. But if my instincts and my gut tells me don't do this, and I have that little voice that says don't do this, 9 times out of 10 when I don't listen to that voice, I regret it. So I always listen to my
Instinct. Oh, it's huge. Instinct. You know what I mean? And I'm big on that though too, Katrina, because so many people come to me and go, well, Katrina said, well, Craig said, well, and I'm like, what do you say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you want to do? I can't tell you how many conversations in the past 24 months I've had with clients over this very subject. Write down what you want to do.
Yep.
We can build the business. I mean, and this is my tip. We can build the business around what you want to do. What are the things that you want to accomplish? Let's get that down on a piece of paper or a notepad or a Word document, whatever it is you want to do it on. And that is going to take you away from making the decisions, because now you go, well, I want to be able to have a podcast once a week. Great. What day of the week works for you? Well, I don't know. What's your busiest day? Thursday. What's your least busiest day? Monday. What are you doing on Tuesday? Well, no, this is a process I've done. What are you doing on Tuesday? Well, nothing. So your least busiest day is Monday. So you do all your prep work on Monday. Then Tuesday, you're ready to go. Turn on the camera, turn on the recorders, and go.
Yep.
And it eliminates the indecision of doing it, all right, by using what you wanted to do as your guiding work.
Yep. Instincts are big.
Yep. So
big.
Your next one.
So I think another big thing too is that you really need to figure out what's important and what you want to achieve. And that's kind of what you were alluding to, Tim, is you want to figure out what are your goals. If you don't have goals and you don't have things that you really, if you're floundering, it's going to be real difficult for you to make any decisions. So you really have to be solid in what is the road you need to take to get to this goal or that goal or whatever the case may be. But if you don't have those goals, what are you working towards? And I think that's a really important piece of it. And a lot of times with entrepreneurs, I think they have this one goal and then they start going down that. And then somebody says, Tim might say, hey, no, try this over here or try this over there. And now they're going down a different path altogether. You really have to stick to your goals and figure out exactly what it is you want to achieve.
And I have done that. I've taken that in a different area though in mine, because I wasn't a big goal setter. However, I am a mission-driven person. So in other words, I have a mission. The goal of what level I've got to get on the mission doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Everything I do is guided by the mission. And what I mean by that is anybody who's heard me speak knows my mission of trying to get 10,000, bloggers, vloggers, podcasters with build an audience of 10,000 and make $10,000 a month. That's my mission, to help people get that. All right. And everything that comes up that might be a way that would cause me to make a bad decision or make a weird decision or go off my track is I immediately hold it up to that. So I think Katrina and you talked about it like a couple of weeks ago. I had a friend make a great offer for a great multi-level marketing company, and I'm not going to put it down. Multi-level, or network marketing, they call it now. Great company, not, you know what I mean? And basically when he put it up to me and I'm like, I immediately went, it sounds good, man. I'm all for you to take on. And he's like, well, you interested? I'm like, no, it does not fit my mission right now.
Yeah.
There's no indecision on that. It is a great sales pitch, by the way, and he made it sound really good. And I'm going to tell you, it's tempting if I didn't have a mission guiding me, or like Katrina said, goals guiding you. For me, I had the mission drive me. Yeah. Once you got the mission, it's easy to set goals, right?
I totally agree. Yeah. Totally agree.
What's your next one?
My last one is you want to remove as many distractions as possible. And that means you have to plan out. I personally have to plan out my day. So there are certain times that I check email and then I stop and then I start doing my work. Mm-hmm. And then I'll check it again and then I stop and then I start doing my work. Because if I'm constantly doing email, I'll get nothing done. And I will even put the phone on do not disturb when I'm working on client projects, because my goal is to get that thing done. And if I'm picking up the phone, looking at email and all these other distractions, it's not going to get done. So I really try my best to remove all those distractions so that I get a lot more done in a day, which I do so much better than I did when I first started my business. So much better.
Yeah. It's interesting that you had that one as your last one, removing the distractions. One of the things I used to talk about a lot, I don't know if you've ever seen me do this one at an event, Katrina, was I used to talk about the overwhelm of going to events, like you mentioned at the beginning of this segment. And I used to talk about that. You could home with a million ideas, and you got a workbook with a million ideas. And I seen Craig is where I learned this from, and I started implementing it in my own stuff. And I actually use it as a speech when I'm speaking at others' events sometimes. And that is, take this event and just take, before you leave the building, write 3 things down that you're going to do. 3. That's it.
Yep.
Not the whole book. What is the first 3 that you can go home and do? All right. And you want to go for the 3 easiest ones first, because the sense of accomplishment will make you write your 3 next ones. And take it 3 things at a time. And what that does is it doesn't make it overwhelm, because those 3 things were the 3 things that got you moving, as opposed to the event, which could give you a million things that could keep you from moving. Those things got you moving. You can go back to the workbook or whatever from that event and add 3 more, or your number 2 thing that you had to do may have spawned 15 ideas for you to do that didn't even come from that event. That's why I go with that one.
Very true. And to tag on to that, Tim, they say that as human nature, most of us cannot handle any more than 3 things at one time anyway, including decisions. Yeah. And that's why when people go in and they do trying to find a home, and they're trying to do things for their home, as soon as they're given more than 3 decisions, now they're, oh, wait a minute, I'm sure So, and in business, that's what you should be doing too. 3 packages, no more than 3 packages, no more than 3 options, no more than, you'll get a lot more accomplished than if you've got 8, 9, 10. It's too much.
And here's why you want to keep on top of it, guys. Really, all right, as we close this one up and move on next is, as many of you know, my situation, September 1st, my whole world got rocked upside down entirely, all because of a computer and studio being wrecked. Now, a lot of the things were able to be fixed, but I never realized how much it affected so many things that I recently had to bow out of a thing I was going to be part of with this campaign this guy was doing in the beginning of October, because all of the stuff I have that was going to be used onto it is still on the hard drive on that computer that I have to gut out, and the server that's not up yet. So, but that took my indecision out, because rather than getting overwhelmed because he's going, oh man, I need this stuff, Tim, because the date is October 2nd. I got to have it. And I had to go in and go, you know what? I think I need to pass on this year's, and maybe I'll do next year's, because that made my decision, because that's not a priority right now. You know what I mean? And that helps. That also, I mean, those things help you when you're moving. It's easier to make decision as opposed to when you're standing still going, So.
Yep. I totally agree. Agree.
So
hopefully these tips will help you with your decision fatigue and help you make better decisions instead of hasty decisions. As we know, you don't want to make hasty decisions with business.
well, before we move on to our next segment, if they wanted to make a decision, the best decision to make about getting their website done, who would they call? Who?
You could call me.
Yeah. Right.
Garcia, KG Website Designs. That's who you can call.
Wow.
And wait a minute. If you want easy, simple, easy marketing tips and so forth, who would you call?
I tell you, you guys want to go to Tim Gillette. All right. Go to timgillette.com. All right. Find out more about me. Or maybe just attend the Simple Easy events, simpleeasyevents.com. I don't have that one up on a pop-up, but anyway, I should. I just have your. Oh wait, no, I do have it. Hold on, I do have it. There it is. Simpleeasyevents.com. So. Yep. Get the VIP package. All right. It actually gives you a ticket to my live event. So, whenever you want to come.
Yay!
Some people just aren't wanting to come, and I get it. I'm okay with that. So anyway. All right, what's our next segment we have with 10 minutes left?
So our next segment is a good one, and that is supplemental income for your business. And as we know, as business owners, this is a huge challenge, is being consistent with income. There are times when it's like going gangbusters and you're making tons of money, and then cricket, where'd everybody go? And that's always with business. It's always up and down, up and down. And so when you're putting supplemental incomes together, it helps you keep that consistency across the board so that at least you can cover all of your expenses, your monthly expenses and so forth. And that's something that I know that Larry Broughton brought up that I thought was key when we saw him at Craig Duswalt's event that really stuck in my brain. He said, instead of worrying about how much money you need to make, just sit down and figure out how much money is just the bare minimum to cover your expenses. That's all you have to do. Figure out what that is and just make that amount. And before you know it, you're going to be making more and more and more.
Yep.
As long as you're covering your monthly expenses, you're good. And this supplemental income can help do that. And I've got a couple ideas that I'm sure you've got.
Yeah, well, no, before you go into that, let me take a step on that before you go into the ideas you got, because they're great. All right. And that is, I know what my expenses are by year. By year. Okay. I know by year. And here's what I mean by that. I know what StreamYard, which I use for this, cost me per year. I know what Kartra cost me per year. I know my website per year. And the larger ones, I have, by the way, I have all the year's expenses. I have it sitting in an investment account that buys stocks. And if I, at the end of the year, have not made the sale, when the bill's due, if the sale's not due, I can go into the stock account real quick, sell the stocks, and within 3 days, pay the bill.
Yeah.
All right. I have that money sitting aside to pay those bills in case, for some reason or another, an invoice doesn't come in at the right time. I have that money sitting in, for many of you, it's a savings account. Me, I have it as an investment account. So in other words, I use that account, an investment account, to buy stocks and buy investments, so that if I don't need it, it's making money for me. But if I do need it, I can sell the investment real quick and pay the bill.
That's interesting because mine is on a monthly basis. I know exactly what my monthly expenses are, and I know exactly what I need to make to cover those monthly expenses.
Yeah.
And so I know each month what it is I need to bring in, and then anything above and beyond that is just gravy. And so, and I just thought it was an interesting concept for what Larry was talking about, because a lot of times all we do is we look at what we want to make instead of what we have to make.
Yeah. What do we need to make? Yeah.
Yes. So
cover the bills first. Yeah.
Yeah. So, exactly. So
get out of survival mode.
Yes, exactly. So, I thought it was a key thing.
You got several ways that you want to explain people for getting their extra income. I want you to explain them today.
Okay. Well, the first one is affiliate programs. Affiliate programs are basically, they're easy. If you're working in different platforms, like with Kartra, they have an affiliate program. You can sign up for that. And pretty much anytime then somebody signs up under your link that you're given, you get a kickback. That's it's a no-brainer. In fact,
you're in my affiliate program, right?
Tons of money just doing affiliate programs.
You're in my affiliate program, right, Katrina?
Yes. Everybody. I mean, if you go to membership site, you've got whatever, you've got to be in the affiliate program. And because you're telling people about it anyway, people are going to ask you, hey, what is that system that you use that does everything? Kartra? Oh, here's my link. Go sign up. As soon as they sign up, guess what? Now you're getting a kickback. And that should be on all your platforms. Maybe when you're working with people such as Tim on his Simple Easy Marketing. And then that way you can get that kickback. It's such an easy way to make money that a lot of people don't really utilize.
Yeah. Do you offer an affiliate program for yours?
I have an affiliate program for our membership site. And
your membership site.
A little bit too.
Yeah. Because I know the service you provide, you really don't have leeway to put that through with the service you provide, right?
No. Yeah. So that's something that I'm going to be working on too, is an affiliate program, so that if somebody refers somebody to me, then they get a kickback. And that's what we're working on, is pulling that together, and everybody should be doing that. And some people may say, well, wait a minute, I need all that money. How can I? You're not really giving a lot away. Why don't you right on the spot right now just say, okay, if you give me a referral, I'll give you this much right now, and it may increase, but I mean, right now, if you give me a referral, $150, I'll give you off the top.
Oh, that's easy.
$150.
So that's it. Refer somebody, email or referral, and she'll follow up on it. If the deal calls through, she'll give you $150. That's affiliate marketing right there, built on the spot.
Yeah, you make $150 just for referring somebody to me, and they've paid and so forth, and here's your $150. Done.
Yeah. You tell them about my Simple Easy events and they buy the $20 ticket, I'll give you $5.
It's still $5. Still better than nothing.
It's because I'm giving 10 of it away to the charity.
I'm just saying,
I barely have 5 to give you. Yeah.
It's a great way to make extra money for very little effort on your side, with the exception of just signing up and getting your link and then just pushing it out there. That's all you have to do. Another one is partnerships. If you're partnering with somebody and you've got a partnership, sometimes you might get a certain amount from that partnership. Like Tim and I, if we partnered and I'm sending people over to him to do what he is best at, which is the simple, easy marketing, and he sends people over to me and what I do, then I give him a kickback and he gives me a kickback. It's a partnership because it's a combined, like we were talking before, it's a good marriage because what we do combines together. It meshes well.
Yeah, maybe in 2022 we'll put a package together that they can get both of our services all in one.
I'm just saying, it's
you got to subscribe to find out. All right, go to thebusinessgspot.com and put your name and email address because you won't find out about it any other way if we do it.
It's a business opportunity. Great opportunity. The other way is a white label. And
this one here I want you to explain because this is I learned, like, this was tough learning for me when I heard the white label idea. So many people, I assume, on this audience are not going to understand white label. So maybe we need to explain this one.
Yeah, white label is essentially say like, and this is just a offhanded thing, but say like with Western Digital, and they have their external drives, and I already tell people about Western Digital and how this is good and that's good and so forth. So now I'm going to buy into it, and Western Digital is now going to offer so that if I sell their product with my logo on it and my information on it, I get a kickback from them. And then I also get the money that I'm getting from clients that are buying that. It's a white label. So essentially it's taking somebody else's product, putting your logo and label on it and so forth. Even though you're not the one making it and you're not the one out there doing all the hard work of it, but you're selling it and you're selling it with your label and so forth on it.
For instance, for instance, all right, I'm selling simple, easy websites. So basically, I'm selling to my clients, simple, easy. I'll have a website built for you, simple, easy websites, and then I am doing nothing more than hiring Katrina to do the work. It's my business, but Katrina does the back end. Her company does the back end work to do it. And I'm selling the same product as she is. The difference is I'm selling them to my clients as opposed to,
exactly.
So,
and that's what white labeling is. It's just like a great partnership with somebody. And now you're just selling that. So it's another opportunity to make money. The other one too, and this is a little bit harder, is membership sites, because you have to have a list like we've talked about. And you have to build that list. But once you do, it's that perpetual income that's coming in, where that membership site could be a monthly or an annual fee. And that could just be coming. And it's another easy way to, like they say, and I kind of hate this wording and how they say it, low-hanging fruit. It's a great way to bring in people that may not be able to afford your coaching program up front. So you give them this other option, and now they can get to know you and start to go into your membership and get value and so on and so forth. And eventually they might get to that point. Now, you know what? I've done all this. I think I need more. So I'm going to sign up for his coaching program. So, okay, I'm going to sign up for Tim's coaching program now because I already did his membership site. It's another way to get that consistent income.
My microphone may have just kicked on me again. So I hope I'm still there, but I may not be. Yeah, it flashed this thing up. Your mic is unplugged again.
You're just a little muffled.
It's because it's off of the other computer mic. So I'll finish the show up with this. I'm just going to talk a little louder because I'm off the computer mic. This mic just became disconnected again.
No worries.
Yeah. All right. As we wrap this up, though, there's one more thing I want to talk about is investing in, you know what I mean, as this part, investing in your business and your life. So when you have extras, we talked about covering your expenses, but when you have extras, guys, you do things to start putting money away so that you have that money, like I said, in the investment account. It can be making money for you in case you need it, but if you don't need it, it's there to keep making money for you. For instance, most people will not do this, but the old-fashioned way that our mom and dads taught us was putting $1 a week in a savings account. I just started this week of putting $10 a week into Bitcoin. Not a lot of money into it, but over time that will build because of the Bitcoin going up and the fact that it, you know what I mean, I'm acquiring a little bit by a little bit by a little bit by a little bit, as opposed to let me save up, oh, I need $1,000 so I can buy 500 shares of this stock. As opposed to you could have been going the whole time going, let me put $10 away towards getting the money to buy that stock. Okay, and if I buy 4 shares, let me buy 4 shares, buy 10 shares. And that's putting money away for rainy days so that when things come due in your business, number one, you have the money to pay the expenses, but number two, you have another route of ways to then go back to what we talked about to start the show of acquiring new businesses.
Yep. So, I mean, it's a great way to make, like a business, any business owner, you want to have that consistent income. And these are some great ways to do that.
Yeah. With that, that's what time it is.
It's time to shut down.
The time has come to close another week's showdown.
Yes. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys coming in. Be sure to go check out this lady here.
And this guy here.
Yeah.
Wait, I was going to mix up.
Uh-huh. I know which way I've got to point now. I figured it out. Yeah. Hey, guys, I'm Tim with Simple Easy Events. We will see you guys next week. In the meantime, guys, go have a great week.